Hey, YouTubers, watch knobs, freakazoids. I'm sitting here with none other than Austin Daniels. And what do you got on there?
Got the Explorer II, 16570.
Let's take a look at it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we are with the beautiful Rolex Explorer. And what is the reference number, Austin?
167. Well, hold on. 1657. Hold on. 16570. I think.
And we're not going to reshoot that because it's funny. Because normally you know your reference number is like you know your own hand, and you struggled there for a moment. I put you on the spot.
I said the GMT first, the GMT reference number.
Well, I have to tell you, for the longest time, I was cold on the Explorers. I didn't know if I ever really would like them, and the only one that I ever had any experience trying on were the newer ones, the Explorer IIs, which feel very large, and I just said, yeah, they're okay. Once I put this on my wrist, everything changed. It gave me a pre-bond vibe, and what I mean by that is extreme comfort. If you look at the clasp, this is my impression. This clasp, this old-fashioned style, it's not obtuse, it's not obstructive. If you look at how thick that is, this is my Seamaster 300, these are big and they're beefy. This is so nice. It's not a doorknob banger. So while the bracelet is a bit chintzy, in my opinion, compared to the newer ones, it's really comfortable. Okay, so it was very comfortable on the wrist, and what I found is I loved this white dial, the contrast with your skin. I just think this is one of the nicest, most refined watches I've seen from Rolex, and I love it. And I'm just wondering, why did you purchase it? What was behind your decision on that?
All right, so I had the 14060 no date sub, and I was looking for a GMT watch. The GMT Master 2 at the time was probably $6,000 or $7,000, which is nothing now, but
yeah,
at the time, you know, considering that you could get a sub for about $4,000, you could get this for $4,000. It just seemed ridiculous to go, say, a Pepsi. And so this was sort of an answer to that, the GMT, but with a lower cost. And so I got that for just over $4,000. And you know, I like the
and
white.
This was in what year?
That was purchased probably three or 4 years ago. And it's a Y serial, so it's about a 2002 model. And I particularly like the white dial because it's very beautiful, very clean, and it's very different. And you know, I had a black dialed no date sub, and so I thought, you know, this is a good contrast. It was going to feel completely different. And after the no date sub, this just felt like it was chock full of functions. It had the GMT, it had the date, and so it was sort of my, I guess, the watch that I thought I could wear that all the time. This could be my daily wear. This could be my sort of high-end beater.
Well, it certainly seems to be your daily wear on vacation, because you have worn this every day.
I haven't put on the Casio once. I haven't taken that off. The only time I've taken it off is occasionally when I shower, just because I don't want soap scum on it, and it's just, yeah. But I've been in the pools with it and been in the oceans. Yes, I snorkeled. It's been in the ocean several times, and yeah, it's served me well.
What did you think when you saw the newer Explorers and then you were looking at this one? Why would you go for this over the Explorer II?
With the 42 millimeter?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
Well, aesthetically, I think that's a much better looking watch. I think 42 millimeters is too big. I think everything just looks oversized on the 42 millimeter Explorer II. The fatter hands, the maxi dial, the bigger case. I just think the proportions are perfect on that, and I think the 42 millimeter Explorer II was sort of Rolex's answer to the bigger watch market.
Yeah,
and the bigger trend, I guess I should say. And yeah, the internals with the blue parachrome spring and the newer movement in the 42 millimeter Explorer II is probably, you know, better, but It's one of these things. I mean, I've never had any issues with magnetization. I just had that check the seals, and they also checked to see if it was magnetized, and it wasn't. So that's years of being on and off planes, and in situations where it's probably been really close to electrical instruments and my phone and stuff, and no problem at all.
That's surprising.
Yeah,
because you've done a lot of traveling with this watch, and you've never had an issue. Whereas with my Planet Ocean, every time I got on a plane, it suddenly was off by 30 seconds, and I would find it was magnetized.
Right. Yeah. So
that's astounding.
So while the newer internals, a lot of people might go for it and kind of look down on this watch, really in practice, I don't think I would know the difference, And so it's not like this has failed me in any way, except for right before I had it serviced, I dropped it and it went from COSC to plus something like 14 seconds a day. So that was from a hard drop.
Oops.
And aside from that, I've had no problems with it. Since I had it serviced, no problems. It runs probably about +4 a day, +5 a day. It came out of the AD like that. If I had it to do again, I would ask them to get it a little bit more on point. But it hadn't deviated from that. So I have absolutely no complaints about that watch, except for the fact that I know if I drop it, it's going to alter the accuracy. But what mechanical watch could you not say that about?
Absolutely. There's no question. Now, we had compared it. We were talking about how I was basically a +2 a day, and we were looking at your watch. This was when we were doing some snorkeling. And so mine seems to be a little more accurate, but who cares when you're talking, okay, +2, +5. I mean, this is ridiculous timekeeping when you consider where we were 10 years ago, where we were 20 years ago. I think we're getting really picky to the point where we want absolute perfection. You're never going to get absolute perfection with a mechanical watch. I don't think that's possible. We don't have quartz watches. These are automatics. I think +5 a day is fantastic.
Yeah.
Especially on an older watch.
Yeah, it's all perspective. I mean, I sort of, from a Rolex, expect I expect COSC standards, and I guess these days that means ±2 seconds. So this is the least accurate of my Rolexes. The others are all just about less than 1 second.
Wow.
All of them. The other ones. And so, but yeah, it's all perspective. I mean,
I would be satisfied with +5 on an older movement like this.
Yeah.
Now, just to throw this out there so people understand, you were telling me before this was discontinued, they put the newer movement in there so that you had the parachrome, which means you had those anti-magnetic properties, but you prefer the older movement. Why?
Well, all right, so I can't say that I prefer the older movement. I mean, for a long time, the 3186 movement with the blue parachrome spring was sort of, I guess you could say it was a grow watch, either this one with that movement or the M and the Z serial GMT Master 2s with that 3186 movement instead of the 3185 movement, which this one has and both of my GMT Master 2s have. Because, the idea of a blue parachrome spring seems great. Like you said, the anti-magnetic properties. Now, again, I haven't had any issues, so sort of if I had experienced magnetization, that really would be something I wanted. But just the idea of having that newer movement kind of appealed to me. But it appears that the 3185 is a stronger movement. And
in what way?
Well, I'm a little hazy on the specifics, but what it is the date function on the 3186 is all contingent on this one little, somewhat fragile piece compared to the 3185. So I think if you're looking for a more lasting, robust movement, I think the 3185 is gonna serve you better. So if I were stuck on, an island for decades, and I could choose my movement, well, I wouldn't have to worry about magnetization, right?
No, you wouldn't.
So I think I would go with 3185. Otherwise, you might have problems with the date. Now, has that been rectified? Probably, maybe. But again, I think it's more of a design thing. And, looking at an article by a watchmaker, he was saying how he sort of prefers the 3185 movement, that was sort of perfection for him. So I guess if I really want to be picky, it would be great to have a 3185 movement. But if somebody could put in the blue parachrome spring, I think that would be perfect. Of course, it will never happen.
No.
It maybe could not happen. But yeah, so I'm actually okay with that. And if somebody said, "Hey, do you trade?" I just, this has just not failed me, and so I just would stick to this. So yeah, I would leave well enough alone, I think. So in the end, I don't think the 3186 movement GMT Master 2s or Explorer 2s are my grails.
Well, you certainly. In our getting together and enjoying each other's company, trying on each other's watches, I never expected to like this as much as I did. And I'm a believer. I got to try on a few others during the week, especially this last few days when we saw a bunch of these, white and black. I do prefer the white. And I think one of these is in my future. I really do. I like it tremendously. And this is where you cannot decide about a watch until you have the opportunity to spend some time with it. Don't decide to purchase a watch just based upon pictures. You really need to have proper impressions, and that means touching it, holding it, trying it on, spending some time with it. And it's a mistake that a lot of people make. They just look at pictures, maybe because of where they're located. That's not good enough. So I want to thank you for allowing me the time to wear this and try it out. I think it's a stunner. I love it. And thank you for discussing it.
Absolutely.
All right, that's it, ladies and gentlemen. So all you watch snobs, YouTubers, and freakazoids out there, thanks for tuning in. Later.